4.3. Right, like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the content with anyone doing technical math. These are technical math videos. This question is a parabola, as you can see. Again, general equations, right? So this let's go. Y is equal to a, open bracket, x minus p, close bracket, squared, plus q. Right, because of the square, you know this is a parabola. Obviously we have the picture above there, but once you see this, you should know certain things. Let's start with the P and the Q. And if you watch the previous two videos, then you've seen the Q is always your up-down shift. Okay, so Q is going to tell you how many times up and down this function went. P is always going to be your, oh, that's a Q. P is always going to be your left-right shift. Okay, now let me just mention this. This negative you see here, that negative comes from the equation. Okay, right. So I'll probably speak about that a bit more when we actually get into the question. Q, up, down, P, left, right. And then you have this A. A, as you should know, if A is positive, bigger than 0, you've got your happy face. And if A is negative, smaller than 0, you would have your sad face. So if you have it in this form, for your parabola, there's actually 3 forms that you can have. Okay, this is called your turning point form, because you can see your P and your Q give you your turning point, right? So your turning point is going to be P and Q. Right, that's why we call this turning point form, because if it is in this form, you can immediately see your turning point. But again, as I've mentioned, there are 2 other forms, and I think I have made videos on all of the forms of the parabola's equation. Maybe go check some of those out. Anyway, let's get straight into this. So the first one, they want to find the values for P and Q. And again, I think I've covered that already for us, because they give us over here, let's just make, they give us the turning point. And we said this is called the turning point form, because when it's in this form, you can see the turning point. So your P value is that one, your Q value is that one. So P is 2 and Q is minus 6. Let's write that down. P is 2, Q minus 6. Right? So if I go back to my equation, I would say that, let's see, this graph's name is K. This graph's name is K. So I would say K of X is equal to A, we don't know, X minus, remember the minus comes from the formula, the P value which is 2, plus the Q value which is negative 6. So it's going to be plus minus 6. What I'm going to do though is I'm just going to replace this. We're going to replace that whole K thing with a Y. Whether it's a Y or whether it's just K, K of X, it is the same thing. Okay, it's okay for us to think of it as the same thing. So now this is what we have. How many unknowns do we have here? Again, I've made a reference to this in the previous video. Y and X are variables. Okay, that means for the same graph, Y and X constantly change. But for the same graph, A is going to stay the same. So A is an unknown. It's not a variable for this graph. Let's have a look at this. So we have one unknown. And if you have one unknown, you need one coordinate. Do you have a coordinate? There's a coordinate for you. You can't use the turning point form, your turning point coordinate, because it's going to collapse on itself. Try it and you'll see what that means. Anyway, so I'm saying we have to use the other one. We can't use the turning point as your substitution value. So we're going to use the 4 and the 2 and substitute it into this equation over here. 4 and 2 is the coordinate. So Y is the 2 value, so we're going to say 2 is equal to A, open bracket, the X value is 4, so it's going to be 4 minus 2. This needs to be squared. All right, great, we fixed it. Minus 6. So this is going to be 2 is equal to A. 4 minus 2 is 2 squared, is going to be 4 minus 6. Now we simply need to solve for A, so let's add 6 on both sides, so it's going to be 2 plus 6 is equal to 4A, and that's going to be 8 is equal to 4A. Divide both sides with a 4, so A is equal to 2. Right, so we're going to go back to this one and we're going to substitute in that 2 for A that we found. So our K of X is equal to 2, open bracket, X minus 2, that was the P value, squared, minus 6. That was the q value. So there we have the equation of our function. Again, this is p, that is q. Where did we get p and q? That was our turning point. And then this is the unknown. How did we get the unknown? You need one coordinate. If you have one unknown, we substituted it into this equation and we solved for our a. Is that all of it? Determine the y-intercept. Okay, so we need this coordinate. How do you get the y-intercept? In order to get the y-intercept, we make x 0, okay? In order to get the y-intercept, we make x 0. So let's go back here and say y-intercept x has to be 0. So let's go write your equation down, which is k of x. Let's call it y. Y is equal to 2 open bracket 0 minus 2 squared minus 6. What did we do? We substituted 0 in x's place in order to find the y-intercept. The rest, just go put in your calculator. 2 open bracket minus 2 squared is positive 4 minus 6. That's going to be 8 minus 6, which is 2. So the coordinate is 0 and 2. So that over there is this coordinate here, 0. That coordinate there is 0 and 2. Okay, that's that question. For all of your functions, okay, we've covered a couple now in these last few videos, but for all of your functions, start by the general equation of the function, understand what each of those unknowns does and how they manipulate the graph, and then from there you judge what you have and what you need to find out, and then take it from there. Also remember, one unknown, you need one coordinate. Do the substitution and solve for the missing value. Good luck.